Um, this. Yeah. Let's do a GotBot True review of this thing. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, share. Check out Machinery Man, the Everything Factor. Have a look for me everywhere. And hey, why not watch Universal Collision, my stop motion series that is up and running. It's also a bit of a work in progress in terms of showing my evolution in that art form, and always learning as I go, and love to hear the suggestions and advice of people more experienced than me. And this is the Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Deluxe Class Ratchet, apparently. Okay, so several years ago, I actually didn't have a Ratchet, if you can believe that, of any kind. And I wanted to have one. And I picked this guy up for $5, realizing he's not exactly right in any way, shape, or form. Now, this particular version belongs to the Scraplets, and I appreciate them letting me look at it. My version, and if you've been watching Universal Collision, you have seen this guy, is this customized version. You can see the differences. I obviously painted I obviously painted a lot of white on him, covering that sort of beigey flesh tone color. I painted over his kneecaps, they're no longer orange. On his chest to sort of mimic his windshield chest, I painted that blue. I made the crest on his head black. Did the best that I could. I think that it helps to make this guy look a little more like Ratchet. Obviously he doesn't look like the Transformers Prime version, or the Robots in Disguise version. He's most closely associated with a G1 repaint. That's the inspiration, but it still doesn't really match that. It's just, at least with the custom work, Ratchet is white. That being said, I think his paint apps are about, you know, Ratchet-esque. I'm going to say they're maybe a 7. I'm going to say that my job maybe got it to a 7. The actual paint apps for this guy, it doesn't look like Ratchet. If anything, it looks like a mad scientist, especially with this like one green glowing eye thing. I'm going to give it a you know what? I don't like it. It's a 0. I don't like the paint apps at all in either form. It's a fail. Why they chose this flesh color, I don't know. It's weird. There's a lot of beautiful molded in detail, but it's not really picked up with paint, and even if it was, I don't know if that would be a help or not. Same back here. This whole back section, is that a thruster? I don't get this. Okay, so that being said, 0. Not a great start. Let's look at his articulation. Well, the head can go left and right a little bit. It's sort of hindered by the collar a bit. Not really up and down, it sort of wiggles. The arms, they can go way out to the side, which I think is great. He does have a bicep swivel, which is wonderful. The hands, because of transformation, they can kind of fold back. He has a bend because of transformation way up on his bicep, and he also has an elbow, so it gets you a full range. Truth is, he has great arm articulation. I really dig it on this guy. He has a waist, which is nice, and the legs can go out that far, so you know, all the way out, all the way back, which is great. Thighs swivel a little bit. It's way up here by the ball joint for the hip. A knee to a bit under 90 degrees, a little under 90 degrees, largely because of all of this kibble on the lower leg. The toes can tilt forward, the heel can tilt forward, really because of transformation. No side-to-side movement on the toes. He stands kind of wonky. I don't know, it's not particularly wonderful, I don't think. It's okay, it's alright articulation, it's just, I wish he stood better, although he's standing well there now. I'll be generous with his articulation. I'm gonna give his articulation, actually, you know what, I guess his articulation is pretty good, and he does roll well in vehicle mode. I'm gonna give that at 8.5. I'm gonna give his articulation at 8.5. You can do a lot with him. He's actually one of the easier figures to pose, like, you know, for play, for display, for stop motion. It's just, I don't think you're going to get a lot of dynamic action poses with him. That being said, this is Ratchet. How many dynamic action poses do you really need for the guy? All that being said, since then, I went back and I looked at this guy a long time ago. Maybe before episode 20 somewhere, I'm really not sure, but a long time ago, one of the very early figures that I reviewed was this guy, the Classics Ratchet, which I think looks a lot more like Ratchet, and this guy's a little bit of a custom, at least with his head crest done. And if you look at all three, you can sort of see where my inspiration came in doing the custom repaint. So taking that out of it and taking him out of it. Let's take even him out of it for a moment and look at his Beast Hunter's weapon, which was this. I don't even know what this is. It can spin like a drill, I guess. If you press the button on the side, you can take it and split it open, and it can do this. I feel like that this looks more like a weapon that you would see Autobot from Beast Wars using, and maybe it is a little bit of a homage to that, Beast Hunters, Beast Wars, you know? But I feel like it's more akin to his kind of weapon. Usually I just store this on Ratchet's back. There's a slot up here, and you can take it and you can store it in there. If you really wanted, he can hold it in his hand, like, or at least I think he can hold it in his hand. Can he hold it in his hand? Yeah, he can hold it in his hand like that, you know. Doesn't that look menacing? And he has ports here on his arm, and you can store it there on his arm as well, if you really want. I don't know really why you would want to. So he's not stellar. He's right now maybe a 4. It's not a great Ratchet right now, but let's get into transformation and see how that goes. Where do we begin with this? Well, the head actually pushes down, but you see it's not staying down now. Their version of him doesn't really stay down that well. You bring the back piece up, and there's a hinge in here. It goes all the way up over and kind of covers where his head is there and sort of pushes it down and holds it in place. This is going to be the back of the vehicle. It's kind of your guide for doing everything else. This is also the roof. So this is the way he's eventually going to be. The arms, you open them out and you open them out. You'll notice there's a flap missing here. There's a flap, extra flap right here. So I'm going to show it from this side because, you know, Scraplet's got one missing here. But I'll also show my custom version transformed. I'm not going to do the transformation with him, but I'll show it compared to this. You take the arms and, okay, see if I can show this. The hinge that I mentioned way up by his bicep. You bend that forward like that. And then you take the whole shoulder piece and it kind of goes up in here, in this section. So you hinge the shoulder back on this gray piece here. And it goes all the way in, just like that, to make the roof. You do the same on the other side and you bend that out and you bend the shoulder back and in. Not too hard so far. Now, the rest of the bicep down to the elbow hinge goes into this space here next to the chest cavity. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can see that. So you're going to bring that down and it goes in there. And then you bend at the elbow and you fold back the fist so that it's in behind here. And you bring this up and you're going to tab it all in on the side. Kind of a lot to do there at once. I'll show it sort of from this side even though the other panel is missing. So we have the shoulder in, we need to bring down to this elbow and put it in the chest cavity and then bend the elbow. Maybe on this side I'll put the hand back first so we already have that done. Bring it down and in and up. And of course you would have another section right here that would tab up over like this. Okay, so that's the back of the vehicle done, that's his upper body done, and here's how it looks underneath. Not too bad. Now we need to come to his lower body. These big white chunks are on gray armatures here, and you need to pull them out and then angle them all the way up. Pull them out and angle it all the way up. I'll say now, the Scraplets version angles up easier than mine. There is a little clear tab on the side of this white section that goes in underneath the side panel here. Same over here, a little clear tab that goes underneath the side panel. And that's what sort of locks these in place. They kind of come at a weird angle. That in and that in. The Scraplets version goes together a bit easier than mine. Oh, before I can put these together and lock them in though, we need to deal with these feet. Close the heel and the toe, close the heel and the toe. And then the whole foot section bends underneath, the whole foot section swivels underneath so that the tires are now to the outside of the vehicle. Tab together the bumper, the hood, the legs basically. And now you should be able to angle that back and get it in, angle that back and get it in. Squeeze it all just a little bit here. Doing those back of the leg sections, those calf sections, is definitely your biggest challenge with this guy. But once you have it done, in the end, boom, there you go. Ratchet in his vehicle mode. Transformation is probably a 6. The upper body goes together pretty good if you know how to move the arms, to be honest with you. The lower body is a little more fiddly with swiveling the legs around and then tabbing these two white pieces into each other and into the vehicle and down behind the hood. On mine, these stick a lot more than they do on the Scraplets version. So that's that version. And there is my custom version of him. And I'll try bringing this in a bit. So you can see that, like, I think the white really did help with this one. You know? Here's the back. Here's the back. Why they went with this beigey color, I'll never understand for the life of me. You can take the, you know, weapon, I guess, and you can still plug it here on the side if you really want. Like that, if you like the look of that. I don't really dig that. Or there are 2 pegs up on the roof. You can always plug it in one of those. It's still pretty awful. And you can't really use the peg now on the back because it would just hang down too low and he wouldn't be able to roll. He does roll like a champ. This one does. This one does. They roll great. It's just, it's a bit of a tricky transformation unless you know exactly what you're doing. And I'll tell you, it's easier to go from robot to vehicle than vehicle to robot because these white pieces do get held up and can be a bit of a pain to swivel back down to become the calf. Both on this version and this one. So I have two molds here and the same kind of issue with swiveling those down on both. So that being said, I'm going to give this transformation an overall mark of about a 7. This guy was about a 4. That's a 7. He's maybe a 5.5. I don't think it's the best Ratchet that we have. I don't think it's the best Transformers Prime RID Ratchet even. Honestly, even going with the original mold or this one, I don't think either of those are as good as the current RID one. Though I haven't looked at it here on the channel, I am somewhat familiar with it, and it's basically the strong arm mold that's used. I think that's a more fun transformation. It has a great look about it, a good silhouette, and I think it embodies the character well. Overall score for this guy, 5.5. Nothing great, unfortunately. Not that I don't like him. I do. Like I said, I've been using him in Universal Collision a lot. It's just, for me, my go-to Ratchet is now going to be that Classics one until we get something better and updated one day. I would really love to have that Unite Warriors one. I just don't want the whole Lynx King thing. But that's a complaint for another time. Anyway, thanks for dropping by, giving me some of your time. You know that I appreciate it as always, and I look forward to the next time that you and I get together for another visit right here inside the videos.